Welcome back to the Talk Past podcast. Saying that really slow this time with my creaky chair. Of course, I am the host with the least NC, and we got our co-host back here.
Hooray! It's me. Despite all my rage, I am still just a raccoon in a trash can. Although I guess that technically should be Katie, but it works for me.
And a lot of people.
Your lovable co-host, Red Iron Riot, aka the War Queen.
Indeed, reminds me. I did get to see Smashing Pumpkins live at least once. They've played with Manson, but in any case, we are kind of watching and reviewing and kind of discussing the Northman trailer that dropped. The Robert Eggers film Northman, coming out. What is it? April, March, at some
April
point this year.
22nd.
April 22nd.
And the trailer released on December 20th, 2021.
We're kind of late on it, but it's also it's a every 2 week podcast, so don't worry about
it. And yeah, we just life happens, and sometimes
we have more interesting things to talk about usually.
So before we start in on this, I did want to say, after watching the Northman trailer, I actually went and watched the Welsh Viking and his take on it.
Yeah,
and that man's so adorable. I gotta just say he's really adorable, and he made some very good points about the trailer.
Jimmy's. I watch Jimmy's videos every week, and he's very good. He's someone that would definitely fit in real well with our cast of
for sure
screen actors.
I would enjoy just being able to talk to him on a subject anyways, because he's so knowledgeable about this era.
Yes. So should we kind of go play by play? We don't have to watch it, or do you have anything you want to say before we kind of get into the trailer regarding perhaps the entirety of it, or Robert Eggers, or the cast?
This is one of those things, like, I feel like my sister would be better suited to talk about, because I'm not, when it comes to directors and actors, I'm just not very knowledgeable. I'm just like, hey, that person's cool. I think the only thing that really caught me on this is that Bjork's in it, and that's pretty cool.
Everyone kind of sees that as something like a little sprinkle on a cupcake. Oh, that's cute.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with sprinkles.
No, not at all. But I would like to. I don't know if she's acted before, off the top of my head. I don't listen to her music. I don't really follow her. I don't have anything against her. Just never been a blip on my radar. So we'll see. I don't know what character she's playing, but we'll see how it goes.
I think she's the female.
She's a Northwoman.
I think she's the female soothsayer with the funky headdress that goes up.
Oh, we're gonna get into that. That's a whole thing.
All right, so let's do this first. The description in the trailer on YouTube from visionary director Robert Eggers. Comes
something like that.
The Northman, an action-filled epic that follows a young Viking prince on his quest to avenge his father's murder. And then the cast, and it seems pretty cut and dry. It's Hamlet. It's basically Viking Hamlet.
Actually, ironically enough, so there is a story called Hamlet, which is in the sagas, which is what Hamlet is based off of. Hamlet. So it actually is an original Viking Age story. So technically Hamlet is based off this, but obviously, yes, the movie, I'm pretty sure, is both taken from the saga as well as Hamlet, and as we will apparently find out, The Lion King.
It's Hamlet all the way down.
Yeah, it's basically Hamlet. Just, with well, I don't know what year this takes place in, but we'll just say Scandinavians.
Well, it looks like one of those things that you're probably not going to find an actual year tacked onto it. It's just, it's a Viking era thing, so it's Vikings.
Yeah, there's some things in here. I'll bring them up just as a little note that kind of puts you in weird directions, but that's pretty much Hollywood medieval for you.
Yeah.
Shall we
Yep,
Go ahead.
we get this lovely shot of a castle on a cliff by the sea, I guess.
Ish. Yeah, it starts with a brooding storm entangled in the dancing of crows and
If
long ships. Just
really,
long
really
ships.
I wanna say
Long,
I don't know if it's just me or if it's just being spoiled on stuff like this. It's like those look like really bad CGI longships.
yeah, long ships toward a
I don't
frozen Viking wasteland. Yeah, no, it looks really bad. Um, you get the stereotypical crows. I love crows though, so whatever.
who doesn't love
Um,
crows?
you've got this stereotypical Scandinavian wasteland, and you got this almost Vikings intro going on, which let's not go down that hole. Um, but yeah, it's kind of a broody little start, but so far nothing really major, right? Just kind of like a nice little atmosphere for you.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not a bad thing, it's a good it builds a good atmosphere.
Yeah, it shows us this is going to be a dark movie, which obviously yes, it is, both in tone, story, but also if you notice, everything's as you would say, right? It's that
Medieval
grit
mud
brown
filter.
medieval mud filter. Everything, the saturation is just down to its lowest form.
Well, the funny thing is like the first time, like in this trailer, when we see the prince for that first little scene, it's just
Hmm.
he seems so much brighter compared to the world around him. I don't know if that was just me or just it's really
It might be
striking.
a story thing. It might be because there are some points in the trailer at least that we see some more of that fantastical imagery in terms of colors and lighting.
It's
It
very
might just be his perspective.
it's a that would be an interesting perspective trick though. It's like here's the world around us, and
Hmm.
kind of bleak, but here are the people, and they're bright and you know oh, is it rosy, I guess is the term I wanna use.
I guess maybe in a sense like the last duel's ending, where she finally has her happy ending, as opposed to the rest of the movie being
Yeah,
bleak
yeah,
and
yeah.
dystopian.
I hate that we have that
Um,
I hate that we have that now as a metric to compare to, but it's
yeah,
like, boy.
yeah. I mean, we can't use like Robin Hood Men in Tights because it's just '90s camera. So
Yeah, yeah, it's all fun.
or Princess Bride, right? Everything is just kind of like this is the camera we had at the time.
Yeah. So after that, this little vista shot of, the settlement on the hill with the long ships, we get this first shot of the king coming home and his, a line of men and there's banners and I think it's like, "Oh, oh, Raven banners. Cool. We like those. We
Y-
appreciate that."
Yeah. Well, I mean, so him coming in on horseback looks like he's wearing a full pelt of John season 8 snow clothing, which obviously is not historical. I don't obviously we just have this frontal view of him. But it kind of looks a little weird. I like
I
that everyone has a shield. I like
Mhm.
they're wearing the Spagan helm, but that kind of stood out to me.
Well, so we get that scene, then we get the shot of the prince, and then we start getting a closer scene of all these folks coming in, and it looks a lot better because like when you see that cloak up close, it's definitely okay. There's more of a fur trim thing going on instead of
Mhm.
the whole IKEA rug.
Yeah, or like a full pelt of an animal. I'm not
Yeah,
sure because that's not a thing.
yeah.
But I did want to mention the kid prince, whichever we're gonna call him. I'll call him kid. But has this fuzzy wuzzy little furry hat,
He's got the furry hat. Yeah.
which is not really a thing. At least
After
it's theoretical, but it's kind of like not really a thing, right? Um,
after living in and through a northern winter with a Ushanka hat, I can appreciate be like, you know what? It's not probably not very historical, but that fur
mhm.
does good work. Okay.
Oh yeah, which kind of also brings up. I mean, I'm gonna mention at least me specifically a lot of things that are both good, but also not in a historical sense in this trailer. But also as a sort of side note, technically we really don't know a lot because not a lot preserves, in terms of fabric and clothing and apparel
Yeah.
from the Viking era culture. So I mean, there might be things that they wore that we will never ever know that they wore. And so I mean, yes,
We could make an educated guess, but it's one of those things that we'll never really know for sure, right?
this is something maybe something. Sometimes I feel like just the simplest idea that we never think of is probably the best thing, especially like when I'm thinking about like birds, bird behavior today and applying that to dinosaurs. Apply kind of like human nature to medieval people. But anyway, that's a digress.
Yeah.
Um, Continue.
So as the scene continues on, we get, a shot of the prince, a shot of the queen, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just like the framing and the design choices they're making for this. It's just
Hmm.
very, I want to say Galadriel vibes from the queen.
I would say, yeah, very sort of Lord of the Ringsy.
Just not the, her 2 retainers standing behind her, but just the queen herself. Although so I saw this, and I'm gonna point it out, and this is just me. If you're looking at the scene, one of those retainers and one of the 2 ladies in waiting in the background, the one on the right in blue reminds me of Mazaire so
Ugh.
much. I don't know why. It just that her face looks very similar to.
Mm. I did not notice. There's a lot of. Well, we'll mention something a bit later, but there's also a lot of darkness in the trailer. There's a lot of details you don't really get unless you
Yeah,
just really stare at that.
yeah.
But so I didn't notice that. But go continue.
Uh, all right, so we get the scene of the queen, and then it cuts to this weird, either is this a dream? Are you in a sauna somewhere, buddy? There's a weird old man. Uh,
We're going through pretty quick.
yeah,
I got
yeah.
notes. So there's the point where he says, "Sorry, I had to deal with Callie. Um, one day this kingdom will be yours." Kind of looking out,
I think we're
like,
coming up on that.
oh, coming up on it.
Yeah, but
Well,
it's
we
like,
got to the old man.
yeah, here we go. We're at the old man, and then we get a beat, and then here's like this kingdom will be yours, et cetera, and he's wearing the
Hmm.
ring mail in the hall, like he
Yeah,
really shouldn't be.
yeah. So I wrote down because I wrote like last time with the last kingdom, the last duel, which a last duel might happen on the last kingdom. But anyway, um, Jesus, this cat, she knows how to open doors. Uh, Let me close the door on her.
She just wants to be a part of the show.
Well, I mean, if she's outside the room, she'll open the door. But if she's inside the room, she can't open the door. Okay. Oof. See, now she's going to the door to try to open it. Bitch. So, uh, I wrote, so one day this kingdom will be yours until Simba kills Mufasa, of course. That scene to me, that just brief blip, looked like Mufasa taking Simba up to the hill and looking over the Pride lands and being like, the Shadowlands and blah blah blah, and all this the sun touches belongs to you. And I'm like, oh my god, of whom is not mine, but
Everything the light
somebody's.
touches will be your kingdom. Listen,
Hmm.
listen. It's like I said, it's Hamlet all the way down.
Yeah,
So
and also you noted the chainmail, which obviously at least it's a riveted chainmail, right?
that
Um,
I do appreciate that, but it's all like it's kind of like, one, why are you wearing it in a social setting? Two, I can kind of understand that because if you got good chainmail, you flaunt it. You got it, you
yeah,
flaunt it.
yeah, you notice that in a lot of these movies in medieval periods, they're always wearing their armor, even when they're like in the bedroom. I'm like, why? I mean, I understand there's a budget, but I'm pretty sure like when we are spending like 8 hours a day in chainmail, the first thing I do is take that off.
Of course. I wonder if it's actual chainmail, or if it's that chainmail that they came up with for
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, yeah. Like it looks
Well,
like actual chainmail.
we'll have to find out. I mean, it's not really expensive. Um, but we'll see. We'll see. Although I did notice the kid, his clasp is kind of good, a little bit complicated for the time, but
I
he's
that was a
wearing.
the clasp is a little weird for him to have. Why not just, the brooch and whatnot?
Yeah, back then they would have mostly had brooches, um, but clasp is okay, I guess. But
Yeah.
his he also has a metal coin, probably iron or silver or something that is from a different land, different region, at least in that shot. We do get a better look at it, but it kind of shows his status here. That kid
Yeah.
looks better dressed than the father, I think.
Well, I guess
Well,
it
I mean, the father looks like he's ready to fight. Like he's gonna kill his kid, whereas the kid looks like he's a proper nobleman in Viking age Scandinavia.
Right. Well, okay, so we have that scene where he's like, all this kingdom will be yours, which, you're setting a tone here. I get it. And then we have the scene in the forest where it's like, oh, here comes the betrayal.
Hmm.
And this is where we get a shot of that coin that you're talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah. A closer look. Well, a
Yeah.
closer look at him in general and what he's wearing. What he's wearing looks great.
Oh yeah.
Um,
No, all the
I love. Oh, good.
no, I was gonna say all the costuming so far is really fun and really like it really just vibes really
Yeah, you
nicely.
notice in this movie. I mean, there's some grievances, and we'll bring that up. But in this movie, they were pretty much on point for the most part with clothing, armor. Also, did you notice that there is in no way, shape, or form any of that stupid, offensive fantasy haircuts that you see in Vikings and the Last Kingdom? That
What, you
that
don't like having, like, 7 braids piled up on your head like you're coming
yeah,
from
and
with
purebreds and shaved sides of your head, and you look like you're going to a punk rave.
in the man bun, don't forget the man bun. The man
Yeah.
bun's very important.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I'm so glad this movie has none of that. It's just people with regular haircuts
Yeah,
that
no, that's nice.
may have been a thing then. I think they just went very conservative. They could have done that thing where it's, like, trimmed in the back. Um, you notice that? Like, I don't know if you've seen Vikings, but Bjorn or Ironside has that haircut in Vikings, which is actually historical.
I can't
They
say that
didn't
I
know
have.
they did that in this, but yeah, whatever. It's a minor thing. I'm glad they didn't do the stupid garbage.
Right. So
But also, did you notice in the forest scene as they're coming out with the uncle Scar, uh, the people behind, and Matt made some notes about Scar himself, but the people behind him are wearing those wool felted furry masks.
I saw that was pointed out, and I didn't quite get it, but I mean, that's pretty neat because it's like that's an actual thing, right? That
Hmm.
was
We actually have I was going to say articles. We actually have the artifacts for those, which is fantastic. They look kind of weird for furry masks, but
well, it
that
it
actually is a thing.
it makes an interesting effect, especially in the scene where where the uncle is, revealed and he takes the helmet off
Yeah,
and
they're using it to conceal their identity. So I'm wondering, do we have any historical concept of that? Do we have any idea if it's more like a sort of a religious, maybe practicing in the cult house, sort of for rituals, or was it something for fun, like just sort of wearing it and going to a party looking like a weird bear, or was it something like this? It's definitely a nice deep dive. I'll have to go on for the channel.
I mean, I could see that definitely being a thing.
And then,
So, anyway,
but,
so we got the scene, we have the scene, and interspersed throughout the scene is the soothsayer woman, which
ugh,
boy, which
yeah,
I said I think that's supposed to be Bjork. I don't know for sure.
let me before we get into her because that's a whole hole to delve down. Um, So, really quick in regards to that forest scene as they're coming out, one very interesting choice to have Chewbacca cameo in the film. Um, but I'm not sure if that's meant to be pile woven wool. 'Cause pile woven wool kind of looks like that, or if that's supposed to be like a Jon Snow pelt. I think that's mostly supposed to be pile woven wool. Do you
I
know
mean,
of pile woven?
yeah, we've talked about that
Yeah,
briefly. I think
it looks. It basically looks like fur. Um,
yeah.
I
No,
know
I
they
could see I
were.
could see that being that pile woven thing
Yeah.
because it
So, go
just
ahead.
the way it kind of hangs makes it
Hmm.
seem more manufactured than straight up fur.
Yeah, like I know there's mittens made of pile woven wool. They have the pile though that's on the inside for the warmth. So so I don't know if this is meant to be that or not. I guess we'll know once the film comes out. Obviously, a trailer only gives you so much. But if it's biowoven, that's cool. It's an interesting little uh, nitpick of the period.
Yeah.
Also, in the back, they're wearing hoods. So I'm actually doing a video regarding medieval hoods in general,
Leary
based
pipe.
on based on the character Bayaka from The Last Kingdom. It's taking a while because the research for medieval hoods is like everything,
A little bit all over the
so
place.
vague, vague. Like what I'm trying to do. So in The Last Kingdom, and I know it's a digress. The Last Kingdom is Viking era, but Bayaka is wearing something that was later period for the clergy. But he's wearing something appropriate for the clergy, just later period. So I wanted to find out, when do hoods attach to the cloth, right? Like the Romans had hoods, but it was
Right.
just cloth, like a cape that they drew over their heads. And we do have medieval hoods, like the Lever pipe and whatnot, but I'm trying to find, so when does the cape become the actual hood? So that just kind of, for me, that was like, I'm researching that. I don't know if that's a thing yet, but people are just like, yeah, it's a hood. But I'm like, but when? When? It's just a me nerd moment. So
No, no, that's valid. That's valid.
shall we get into the very offensive barbarian stereotype with the Baltic pagan neo stupid priestess?
I mean, you seem to have a lot more thoughts on it than I do, so, go
That's
ahead.
my opinion of her.
So, yeah,
I
so,
think
okay, so in the question, we get to this sequence of scenes as the uncle kills the father, and there's a soothsayer-looking woman speaking over it, and she's got this whole funky headdress thing going on, and
yeah,
yeah, and cowrie shells, which apparently were an early Viking thing, but it's
it's
weird. It's
just
just it's weird, man.
I feel like I don't want to delve too deep into it. I just feel like some of the things in this movie is definitely drawing on the offensive stereotype of barbarian culture. These aren't granola pagans, all right? These aren't people who are doing yoga, chewing granola, petting their cats on YouTube for views. They had. I mean, I'm sure they had specific looks for when they're doing rituals and whatnot, but I mean, come on.
No, no, see,
Anyway,
that I agree with more. It's just this is, like, I wouldn't say this is specifically meant to be like, "Oh, look, barbarians." This is just like, ooh, spooky and weird, and
ooh, she's
it's
gonna
kinda
read
giving
your
me that
palms.
it's kinda giving me that, we're trying to branch out into a little more fantastical elements here.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when the Last Kingdom's character's story looks much better than this story. Of course, in the Last Kingdom being Lord Ubba's priest, his seer, if you will, and the story is literally just wearing Viking clothing.
Anyway, so the scene continues, and King gets beheaded. Prince runs away with his little area mantra, and I don't know. I don't like. I'm sure there's going to be more to the scene of him running away. Like, I'm sure there's going to be a whole freaking chase sequence before he meets
Oh,
Timon and
yeah, yeah,
Pumbaa.
no, he's gonna be curled up against his father. Scar's gonna show up. He's gonna be like,
How could you do
"What
this?
have you done?" And he's gonna be
How
like,
could you behead your own father?
and Scar's gonna be like, "Run." I can't do that perfect voice, but he's gonna be like, run, and never return. And then he's gonna run, and then the hyena's gonna chase him with Whoopi Goldberg.
Fuck. Okay, and then like, was that really his only option, to steal a tiny boat and row away? That seems a little weird to me, but
Eh, maybe someday we'll go into the actual saga of Amleth, but at the moment, it's okay just to above our heads. I'm not too sure either.
it seems very dramatic.
That's, I think, what we're gonna get out of this movie, though. It's a very, very serious, dramatic film.
I can respect that. I don't know if I'll be in. I don't know if it's something I'm going to sit down and watch just to watch it, but yeah. So we get this scene. He's doing his little murder prayer, um, and then we get the time
Yes,
the murder prayer.
yes, the murder, which oh my god, it reminds me of Arya from Game of Thrones
That's just
with
exactly why
her.
I called it the murder prayer.
Hmm.
So and then we get the jump cut to scraggly adult Prince.
Yeah, he's met Timon and Pumbaa. He is
This is
now,
after the Hakuna Matata.
yes, he's. I don't know if he's had much of an Akuna Matata life in this one, but he's kind of there.
Like this is the kind of guy you find he's sitting he's got an open van at the flea market with I don't want to say socks, but like pallets of socks or something.
What? Oh. See, now I'm coming up with Hakuna Matata Viking lyrics in my head. Like Hakuna Matata, it's no catching raid. It's our problem free when we're pillaging. Something like that. I don't know. I'm stupid. Go ahead.
Anyway, so continues on. Things kind of go different. He's getting pushed around, slave line or something. In this sequence, we see the uncle with a single-edged blade, which is I didn't know that was a Viking thing. That's neat.
Yeah, it's definitely a historical thing. Mine is actually a single-edged blade. My sword.
Neat.
Granted, it's a blunt sword in general, but it's meant to be a single edge. So yeah, that's pretty cool. It's you used obviously the blunt end for blunt hitting, right?
Yeah.
And then the other one is your usual slash.
And then we go, we more jump cuts, and then we get to I think, and it's the soothsayer. Here's scenes of things burning. Here's a male soothsayer. So the soothsayer dude, and he's got some weird hat on that has I want to say I forget what it's called, but it's that Vikings point that it's been kind of used lately. So we're at the point where we have this, old male soothsayer with his father's mummified head or something, and he's got this
Oh
little
yeah.
thing on his hat that's like the what was the term for it? I forget. It was like
Oh yeah. So real quick, should we open the door again? Spoiler alert. Of course, that shrunken head is actually Willem Dafoe. So spoiler alert: Willem Dafoe dies in the movie.
I mean,
Yeah, that guy's wearing. He's wearing a furry hat. It looks like he's wearing a furry hat, but he's also wearing something that is in no way, shape, or form Viking era. He's that symbol is a Vegvasir, much like the Helm of Awe has nothing to do with the Vikings. Um, so it also has nothing to do with vegetables. So I don't know why we're
no,
using the
it's
Vegvasir.
the Vegvasir.
Yeah, it's not historical. It's
Yeah,
just
no, it's
garbage.
turned into it's not historical, and it has kind of taken a root in our modern time as this is a Viking symbol because it's like because
Yeah,
it's
we're
Icelandic.
we're neo granola pagan.
Vegvasir.
We like to shave our heads.
Man buns and inside fades.
Yeah, we like to put makeup on and call ourselves Vikings.
The turtle brooch that he's wearing.
Yeah, yeah. So the brooch, however, is also. I mean, it looks good, but it's also the tortoise brooch is something only women would have worn. So I'm not sure why he's wearing it. Um, so it just kind of makes no sense. In Vikings, there's a lot of thanes and lords and stuff that are wearing tortoise brooches, and it's like that dude is cross dressing.
I
Did you
mean,
mean to do that?
it's likely there's some sort of maybe magic thing going on with that. Because
Hmm.
male magic and female magic are different types of magic, from what I understand in Viking sagas. So that could be part of
Yeah.
it. Who knows? It's just a trailer, so we may find out in the movie. But the Vegvasir is just like, why does he have this on his head? That's so weird.
Well, he went to the festival. He got a henna tattoo. He had some Instagram photos and wanted to go home and tell his parents, "Hey, I'm a Viking now. I can go listen to some Denheim and do the rave."
Oh, I'll love to listen, I love me a good henna tattoo, so I can't rag on that too hard. Yeah. Alright, so as we continue on, we get some more cuts of, violence and this one chick, and, well, here we go. Buff shirtless Viking with a hand axe.
Yeah, before that, you notice Nicole Kidman in there. Um, so Nicole Kidman shows, if you've noticed in this movie, it currently is showing way too much skin. The guys too. I don't know if you notice. This is a historical thing, but they did have modesty back then. Even the Scandinavians.
Right.
So showing chest, like showing too much chest, was not considered, as we say, Gucci.
Not Gucci.
So I don't know why Nicole Kidman's pretty much just kind of like half naked. I don't know why there's a half naked barbarian man dual wielding, jumping
Well,
down a mountain.
you see audiences expect a certain level of Viking, and so we have to give them a shirtless man with a hand axe because of reasons.
His tunic as a kilt while he's wearing pants. He's looking like Jera with his sword and axe.
Anyways, as the trailer keeps going, we kinda get this stuff gets, like, I wanna say again, that fantastical element to it,
Yeah,
and, more cuts, more violence, we get that, the scene of the volcano going for whatever reason, which is why I think it's like you're trying this is some weird fantastical
yeah. Like,
thing
are they
going
living on an
on.
island with a volcano? I mean, why? There's no like establishing shot for the volcano. It's just
It's just
showing
there.
shots of a volcano.
And then we got this then it gets to the scene of, here's the prince in the shirtless with a wolf pelt on his head because for some reason, and
Yeah, here's pelt covered, half naked barbarian men and granola pagan psychic Disney witch woman.
and it's the way the scene looks, it looks like this part actually looks like it precedes whatever's going on where he's inside the fort, this hill fort with a hand axe.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm just sorry, like this scene where he catches the javelin and he spins and he throws it right back. I'm like, "Excuse me? What are you smoking? Hello?"
Yeah, that was a very lucky catch. It was very quick, very so I don't know. Obviously, I don't think that's a practical effect.
Like,
Um,
is that like a quick time event? That's a quick time event right there, buddy.
yeah, he had to press A to catch it. If he pressed X, it would have gone into one of his buddies.
And, like,
The video game reference.
it even isn't just a catch and he flips it around. He catches it and spins it around and then throws it
He,
back, and
he
I'm
he pivots, does a cover, and then uses the momentum to whip it back.
but so, yeah, that's a thing, and it's just like, y'all really gotta get this, I get
Well, I
it.
can I can forgive that as just a movie moment, right? It's not the most egregious thing in the trailer so far. It's just kind of like, oh, cheeky, cheeky.
Yeah. It's just, so, it continues on, some more cuts, we see I guess it's supposed to be him, that he's much cleaned up, doing his little murder prayer, and so, the scene that comes up, and this is the scene where he's bloody and sweaty, and he's in this town, and he's dual wielding. I will say, I appreciate he's got a Siux, and frick, hold on. The leather scabbard for the Siux. It's across the front of his legs, like he probably really would have worn that.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I can appreciate that's like one of those little details. It's like, oh, that I mean that works.
yeah. I don't want to
That
come across too negative in this because I know I am kind of really nitpicking, but there is a lot of amazing attention to detail in this movie so
oh
far.
yeah.
From the shields, the weapons, the armor. Obviously, the lamellar armor is not really a thing for Viking Age Scandinavians, but all the same, everything else looks amazing. Like
Mhm.
I'm just kind of nitpicking because
Oh
it's
no, that's
for me when we do our fights at fair. I love grabbing those moments that pull you out of it and kind of dissecting it, uh,
mhm.
not from a negative standpoint, but just because of like, oh, that's an interesting option. Why?
Mm.
So
So
really,
I
mostly
did
that.
I did want to say this, and this is just because it this kind of jumped out at me. It's kind of funny when we
Mhm.
have that close up shot of him going, "I will save you, mother," and it's like he looks a lot more cleaned up, and it's a very dark shot. I think
Very, very like Aragorn.
so. You see that, and it looks a lot like my brother.
I do see that. Yeah, yeah.
You can see that. You can see that too. It's just like
Mhm.
it's so weird, but yeah, there's that.
Yeah. It was real cleaned up. I'm
Yeah.
obviously getting a lot of Lord of the Rings vibes from this.
Mhm.
Um,
So, after this, sweaty Viking man, shirtless Viking man, sequence, we get a really interesting thing. I
mhm.
was really interested is, like, have a scene of the men and the dude in the horned helmet doing some sort of war dance thingy, and this is where it's
Yeah,
like, we're getting more, there's something fantastical going on in the story here. We're just not seeing a lot of it because we're just seeing bits because it's a trailer.
yeah. So the helm he's wearing is actually a Bronze Age, early Germanic helm. It's
Mhm.
not Viking Age. It's not particularly accurate to the time. It is something that existed.
Yeah, I like
So at least that.
if I recall, it's mentioned that it's based off of, some sort of pattern that depicted rituals, so it's like it's a ritual thing, and that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I hope they
It just
explain it because otherwise people are gonna see it and be like, "Oh, look at you got the horns. Hello, 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 hello."
yeah. To me, it looks like an excuse to put horned helms on a Viking.
But if they actually explain, like, what's going on with this ritual instead of just like it's a scene where a ritual is happening, that would be
Mm.
very interesting.
Well, I mean, we'll see with the movie. I'm not going to watch it in theaters.
Yeah.
I'll wait till it gets to whatever
Yeah.
weird
So,
platform.
after this
But
really
yeah,
cool little sequence of this war of this, what did I say?
Germanic dance thing.
Yeah, okay, dramatic dance thing. We have this, we have another scene of, sweaty Viking man, then we have the Valkyrie. And I'm
Mhm.
just this
Yeah,
this part just kinda it feels so out of place. It's so
it's
weird.
it's really stupid.
It's like I wanna say the one thing that makes me think of, have you ever seen, Run Boy Run or no, Iron by Woodkid? Have you ever seen the music
No,
video for that?
no.
It's this whole sequence and just see I'll link it to you because I like it. I think it's good music. But this scene makes me think of that music video, and it's so weird. It's so out there. What's going on with this? Are they what are you people smoking? Are
Yeah,
they smoking something?
this is what I wrote down when I saw that. I wrote full-on offensive stereotype Lord of the Rings Valkyrie with carved teeth, which were not a thing, not a common thing. Dye in her teeth, which is also not a thing because you can't dye your teeth. Complete garbage, and the actor should feel stupid for doing that.
Like, I just it's just
It's
so
not
out
her
of
fault.
left field.
It's not
Like,
her fault. So my apologies
yeah.
to her, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, the thing is like all the rest of this weird mystical stuff that's going on in the trailer is still kind of grounded a little bit, if you get what I mean, and then this is just, like,
It's
completely
people.
out of
It's
left
people
field.
doing things, right? It's people engaging in their mythos. This is probably like a dream sequence.
It's not a dream sequence, some kinda drug trip. It's just so out of left field, it's like, dude coming down the catwalk with a metal chair sorta thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you've got uh, Simba in the ring calling out Scar, and then all of a sudden Titantron goes live, music starts playing, and oh, what is this? Oh my god! Oh my god! It's Mickey Mouse with a steel chair. Oh, boy, you must stop now. Oh, I'm gonna take you in a cell cage. Oh, I'm just like, oh my
I was just about to say it's not wrong. Oh, no.
god, yeah,
So, yeah, and then it just, a lot more cuts. Okay, the last scene we get of this trailer with the 2 men fighting, it's like, "I'm sorry, that color you've just lifted that color palette from Lion King then?"
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
That scene where they're fighting with the fire and the volcano. I
Yeah.
literally like, that literally is Scar versus Simba.
That really is, and then that's it. You get one more
We
one
we
more
we've left Lord of the Rings, and we've entered Lion King.
so so yeah, that's the trailer. That's
Yep, then you get names because of names, because, people like names, even though all I care about is a good story, I don't care who's in it.
yeah, so yeah, that's the Northman trailer. I would say I would definitely agree. This is not something I'm probably gonna go see in theaters because this might be a fun thing to get, to watch while drunk and or high.
Like, yeah, watch it with your friends to be like, "Oh, look at this movie."
Yeah, no, like I would love to be able to watch this with the Fair family just to, just like take a shot whenever something happens.
Take a shot whenever you see a Viking without a shirt. Take a shot when you see someone wearing a pelt.
Just just ridiculous sort of thing like that.
Mhm.
But
Although one thing I did wanna quickly note is you noticed, yeah, everyone's got the Spangen helms. Everyone pretty much looks good for the most part, honestly, literally. That's any kinda clothing things I have is literally just nitpicking. But
the costume is really on point.
one thing I noticed, nobody is wearing a pillbox hat from the Lane's Netherlands find. No one is wearing any of the hats we know that they wore. Everyone's just kind of like without a hat or a Spangen helm.
Well, to be fair, we don't see a lot of more domestic-y scenes in this trailer, so
Yeah,
maybe.
it would be nice to see people wearing things that were like solid. Yes, this is a thing, rather than that wearing a dead animal on your head and being like, "This is Viking," when it's really like, is it though? Be like, no, he's wearing a pillbox hat. He's wearing it like he's wearing it really suave. Good on him.
Suave.
Good on him.
A
And
stylish Viking.
it's even got the decorative stitching.
But yeah, like there's like you said, there's a lot of good little details in this.
Hmm.
Like some things we didn't mention is like the women in the at the start of the trailer, they're wearing that underdress overdress, very basic, but it works. They got
Yeah,
the tablet weaving on the tunics that shows up, and that's fantastic. And just there's a lot of little details that like okay, this is cool. And then the thumbnail everybody's using for this is the shirtless, dirty, sweaty, bloody Viking man.
that's the thumbnail of this video. That's what everyone's looking at when they're listening to this. Because that is the most ridiculous thing. One of the most ridiculous things that's still at least grounded on here. I didn't want to use the Valkyrie. Ugh.
So, any more thoughts?
Yes, yes. So you mentioned this isn't something you. I had a creaky chair. This isn't something you'd probably really want to watch. Obviously, I'm not going to go to the theaters because of the current situation. Personally, I love going to theaters because I love hearing crowd reactions. But I don't really honestly want to see it because it's basically just Hamlet. It's basically just Lion King. I feel like for the same reason of Avatar being Pocahontas, Fern Gully, Dances with Wolves. I think it's the name of that movie I didn't see.
Yeah,
I'm
Dances with Wolves.
tired. I'm tired of them just taking from. Obviously, this Shakespeare took from the sagas, so I can't say just taking from Shakespeare and revamping it. I feel like they could have done better. I'm just tired of seeing the same movie over and over again with different paint on it. So I honestly, it just,
That's fair.
it, I mean, I wanted to nitpick it for the channel because I love the Viking Age and obviously we are medieval content. But in all honesty, I really have no interest in this movie. It's I've already seen this movie in The Lion King.
I've already seen this movie. Yeah, no, I think when it's on rent, like Redbox or whatever, where it's available
Yeah,
without having to go to a theater. I might watch it with my sister just to be like, what can we see? And if I do, and if I think if I think you might, enjoy talking at length more about stuff that goes on, I'll say, hey,
mm.
you should really watch it, and you might enjoy this bit. And
I
but
mean, eventually when it does come to streaming, depending on the stream, of course, I'll probably see it. Assuming 'Cause, I mean, there's some shows
But
that are
but
recurring
you're
on
not gonna go out of your
Hulu,
way to
Shot
see it.
yeah, I'm not gonna go out of my way. I always have a roundabout way of saying things, um, rather than just being like, "I'm just not gonna go out of my way."
No,
But
no,
yeah,
that's fair.
no, we'll see, we'll see.
I just figured it was a good way to put it. Um, but yeah, I mean, it looks could be interesting. I'm want to see some of the choices they make with some things. Otherwise, I'm just like, eh.
Yeah,
Eh.
the acting will be great. You got a great talent list in general. It's
Like,
just, it's more
uh,
mud filter, um,
yeah.
which I love. I don't mind a gritty film. I really like that. But in this, it just kind of feels like they're doing it just because that's the theme.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I'm kind of tired of it. I'm tired of the same movie over and over again. I'm tired of people just taking niches and applying it to their films because it's a niche. I'm kind of over it. I want a movie that's the antithesis of what you're seeing in theaters right now, and this isn't it.
That's fair. Well,
Like Joker, the antithesis of the comic book movies, right? That was a good movie. Obviously, it's a Marvel, but it was the antithesis of what we're getting. This is just kind of the same old, same old.
I'd say, what, I'd actually argue that maybe Harlequin, Birds of Prey is a better kind of vibe for that because Birds of Prey compared to Marvel movies, it's like what we're getting with Marvel movies and Birds of Prey is just so drastically different, but still a superhero movie.
Yeah, I opted out of that film
I think you'd
mainly.
enjoy it.
Uh, I don't. It's not because of the casting of Birds of Prey in any way, shape, or form. It's actually because I don't like comic book movies.
That's fair. That's fair. I will say, as somebody who kind of stopped watching Marvel movies and not really interested in superhero movies, I'm glad
Yeah,
I watched Birds of Prey. So I'll leave you with that.
I mean, it took a while for me to see Joker. Once I saw it, I liked it. But with comic book movies, I'm just like, you know what? I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of every 3 months is a comic book movie.
Well, I would say that Birds of Prey would kind of breaks that, and you might enjoy it. Anyways, that's I guess that's our thoughts on the Northman.
Yeah, pretty much. It's basically kind of 50-50 for us, right? We,
Yeah,
we like some things in it, but we don't really like it.
yeah. Like, not gonna. It's definitely a hard. I'm not gonna go out of my way to see it, but once it comes to streaming, I'll probably watch it just to see
Yeah.
what's going on in it.
Although, unlike the last duel, this is something that actually has been in the media. It's actually been something that people are paying attention to. Um, just
That's
a quick
because
recall.
Vikings are still kind of in vogue, I guess.
Yeah, but then we're going to go back to vampires, and then we're going to go back to pirates, and then we're going to go back to vampire pirate Vikings.
Eh,
Vampires versus Vikings. Nice, nice. Then let me go ahead and wrap up
all
our
right.
little podcast episode here. That will be that. What? That is that for this episode of the Talk Past podcast. And of course, we discussed the Northman. Um, Beyond that, anything closing? I'm NC, the host.
And I'm Red Iron Riot, aka the War Queen. I hope y'all enjoyed the episode.
Rabble dabble.
Hooray!